The Dragon Emperor Zarthax had lived for 17,000 cycles. His scales shimmered like molten starlight, and his throne room stretched wider than most planetary capitals. Ambassadors from 1,000 worlds had knelt before him, offering tributes that would bankrupt entire civilizations. He had rejected them all. The Crystalline Collective had once presented him with a moon made entirely of compressed diamonds. Zarthax had yawned, sending a plume of cosmic fire that reduced it to ash. The mechanical Concordat offered him a dreadnought fleet capable of conquering galaxies. He'd dismissed them with a flick of his massive tail. Even the eldest ones, beings of pure energy who predated stars themselves, had offered him knowledge of the universe's creation. Boring, Zarthax had rumbled, and returned to his centuries-long nap. The galaxy had learned a simple truth. Nothing impressed the Dragon Emperor. Nothing held value in his ancient, infinite eyes. He had seen civilizations rise and fall like waves. He had witnessed stars being born and dying. What could possibly move a being who had experienced everything? The human colony ship Orpheus Dawn had been limping through his territory for 3 weeks, when his patrol vessels finally intercepted it. The ship was a wreck, hull breached in a dozen places, engines failing, life support running on emergency reserves. It carried 247 souls, refugees from Earth's outer colonies, fleeing a war they hadn't started and couldn't win. The Dragon Emperor demands tribute for passage through his domain, the patrol captain announced, his voice crackling through the Orpheus Dawn's damaged communications array. Captain Maria Chen stared at her empty cargo holds and depleted resource counters. They had nothing except frightened families, injured crew members, and hope that was wearing thinner than their hull plating. "We have no tribute to offer," she replied, her voice steady despite the trembling in her hands. "We're refugees. We barely have enough to reach the next system." The patrol captain's laugh was cold. "Then you will be destroyed. The Emperor's law is absolute." That's when Angel stepped forward. She was 9 years old, small even for a human child, with dark curly hair and eyes that had seen too much suffering for someone so young. She'd lost her parents in the bombardment of Colony 7, an orphan among orphans, traveling on a ship full of broken families searching for a new home. "Wait," Angel said, tugging on Captain Chen's sleeve. "I have something." From her small backpack, one of the few possessions she'd managed to grab when fleeing, she pulled out a piece of paper. It was wrinkled, colored with whatever crayons and pencils the ship's emergency supplies had contained. On it, she had drawn a picture. It showed a massive dragon, purple and gold, with kind eyes. Standing next to it was a tiny stick figure with curly hair. Both figures were smiling. At the top, in a child's careful handwriting, were the words, "Thank you for letting us pass. You must be very lonely." "Angel, I can give this," Angel said. "It's all I have." Captain Chen's throat tightened. The crew members present looked away, some wiping their eyes. They were about to die, and this child was offering a crayon drawing as tribute to an emperor who had rejected moons made of diamonds. "Send it," Chen whispered. What did they have to lose? The drawing was scanned and transmitted to the patrol vessel, then forwarded to the Dragon Emperor's throne world. Hours passed. The Orpheus Dawn drifted, engines cold, waiting for the execution order. Instead, reality tore open. A portal of swirling cosmic energy materialized beside the colony ship, large enough to swallow a planet. Through it emerged Zarthax himself, his body stretching across the void, wings that could eclipse suns, scales that reflected the light of distant galaxies. The crew of the Orpheus Dawn prepared to die. Zarthax's enormous eye, larger than their entire ship, focused on the small vessel. When he spoke, his voice resonated through space itself, bypassing their communications entirely and speaking directly into their minds. "Bring me the child." Jackson, the ship's young security officer, immediately stepped forward. At 23, he was barely older than some of the teenagers aboard, but he'd appointed himself Angel's unofficial guardian since her parents' death. He found her in the refugee quarters, clutching her backpack, trembling. "It's okay," Jackson said, kneeling beside her. "I'll go with you." "Am I in trouble?" Angel asked, her voice small. "No, sweetheart. I don't think so." They transported across on a shuttle, Jackson holding Angel's hand as they approached the cosmic dragon. Up close, Zarthax was incomprehensible. Too large, too ancient, too powerful for human minds to fully process. But Angel looked up at him with curious, unafraid eyes. "Did you like my picture?" she asked. The Dragon Emperor lowered his massive head. In one claw he held Angel's drawing, impossibly preserved despite being large enough to be held by a being of his scale. He studied it for a long moment. "In 17,000 cycles," Zarthak said, his voice gentle now, "I have received tribute from every species, every civilization, every powerful being in this galaxy. They have offered me wealth, power, knowledge, worship. They have given me everything that can be taken, built, or conquered." He carefully, impossibly gently, touched the drawing with one claw. "But you are the first," he continued, "to offer me something that required nothing but time, thought, and care. You are the first to see me not as something to appease, but as someone who might appreciate a gift. You are the first to imagine that I might be lonely." A single tear, glowing like a captured star, fell from the dragon's eye. "You are the first to say thank you." Zarthak straightened, his voice returning to its cosmic thunder. "The humans of the Orpheus Dawn have my protection. I grant them safe passage through my territory. More, I grant them a world unclaimed and rich where they may build their new home. Any who threaten them will answer to me." He looked down at Angel one more time. "And you, small one, have given me something far more valuable than all the treasures of the galaxy. You have reminded me what it means to receive a gift given freely, with kindness." As Jackson and Angel returned to their ship, as the crew celebrated and wept with relief, as they plotted course to their new world, Angel looked back at the massive dragon floating in space. He was still holding her drawing, carefully, like it was the most precious thing in the universe. To him, it was humanity had conquered the Dragon Emperor not with weapons or wealth, but with a child's simple act of thoughtful kindness, the most powerful force in the galaxy.